happy, really happy to be with you, happy, really happy to be with Good morning, everybody. Today, welcome to the NFT morning. We have on November 8th, and this is, special shows because Paris Photo is happening next week in Paris, from November 12th to 16th. And as you may have followed, we have the chance to have most of the artists, that will be exhibited in Paris next week. And today I'm really happy and excited, to be with Daniel Canogar. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Nice to be here with you, John. Very well, thanks.
Big pleasure to have you. You are, I would say, a pioneer. Yeah, but you've been pioneering basically digital art, especially, with visuals, LED installations, video walks, a lot of experimental thing, and I'm really happy to have you and to have you also exhibited next week at Paris Photo. I think you will be basically and you're coming with the gallery. Sorry, that is. If I'm not, tell me if I'm wrong actually, but it's basically with the Anita Becker and Rolf Art Gallery, and they're doing like a kind of duo show with the artist also Giulietta Tarobella, and so basically, we will see both of your works there. And I wanted to just to let people discover, of course, the two pieces that will be exhibited in Paris, but also just before we go into that, I know that you have a lot of things happening currently. You told me before the show that you are like you have also something happening in Switzerland currently. Just Paris Photo. You heard about it beforehand. You've been following this show.
Oh, I've participated even over the years, so I'm very familiar. Yeah. I've been there many times, and I'm definitely familiar with the Paris Photo program. Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, because for people who don't know, maybe it's basically it's a very important, maybe one of the most important art show for photography. I would say in Europe, at least, maybe in the world, where a lot of exhibitors are joining. And the last 3 years also, and this is also something that is interesting for us at NFT Morning, Nina Rohers has been curating a digital sector dedicated to digital art, basically. And so we'll have the chance to have you there. But first, just wanted to ask you a very complex question. How would you describe your art, basically?
It is a difficult question to summarize, but if I had to do an elevator pitch of my work, I would say that I'm an artist that uses technology to reflect on the impact that technology is having on our society, in our culture, and even in our psyche. So for me, it's important to do that reflection, that thinking about the impact with the actual tools that are affecting us. So that would be like a really concise way of summarizing it. This manifests in the form of what I call data works, screen-based works with generative custom-made algorithms. It manifests itself also with sculpture work, with public art commissions, and occasionally with NFTs.
Okay, no, that's interesting. So, to go directly, because we're following also this NFT topic. What you you saw something interesting into this NFT medium?
Yes, I mean it's sporadic. I'm working on an NFT project currently. The project is called Reentry, and it is very connected to a lot of the work that I'm doing presently, thinking about space and outer space and satellites and uh, astronomy, really. Also, the work is basically an NFT generator with space garbage, with data related to space garbage. I don't want to reveal too much about it right now because we're in the final stages of it and it will be launched pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of my new NFT project that I'm currently developing, and which should be finished I think next month. I have other NFT projects that I've done. The first NFT project was kind of ironic. Um, it was in 2001 and kind of still very much in the middle of the pandemic. The work was called Shred, and it was an NFT shredder. Every time an NFT would come online um, on OpenSea, I would grab it and I would shred it. And part of it had to do with my, um, should we say, my exhaustion with everybody coming to me as a experienced media artist asking me, "Are you going to do NFTs? Are you going to do NFTs? Are you doing NFTs?" I was like, "Yes, here, I'll show you my NFT." And I was shredded with respect a whole bunch of NFTs that were coming online. And then it actually became a very beautiful composition. So I ended up creating NFTs with my NFT shredder that actually did very well in those early days of the NFT boom.
Okay, wow. Okay, that's can't wait to see the new project also. But let's go back to the past, basically, and
Yeah.
maybe just when basically, I know you. I think actually, I think it's also connected with Paris Photo, but your original background, I think, is photography, if I'm not wrong.
It is. Photography was my first love, and it is still a medium that I love very much. But I always have to kind of present a little bit of a caveat because it wasn't so much print photography that I was interested. I was really fascinated with the ritual of being in a dark room. This is before digital photography. And I discovered the dark room when I was 14 years old. And just the magic, this kind of magical space, dark space with the red lights and the radio music in the background, and just the magic of tinkering with light and darkness and these images that would magically appear on a piece of paper. That is what I loved. The results, maybe some of them were better than others, but it was really the experience of being in the dark room, which I've carried on for the rest of my life. And in a way, still today, so many years later, I think I'm still trying to recreate my excitement at being in this kind of ritualistic darkened space where magical imagery kind of happens, almost like an alchemist. That is, in the end, I think, a very deep impulse in my work, and that really takes me directly to my present work with media art.
I see, I see. And so maybe just to tease people, and I would like to jump also in the future and to show the present. I just would like to talk about to illustrate also for people who are following one of the piece that will be exhibited also in Paris to talk a bit more about it, and actually if it's okay with you, wanted to start maybe with this one, Diorama 2.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
so yeah, basically maybe you can also a bit explain what it is about for people who following.
Yeah. This is one of the pieces that's going to be showing at Paris Photo, and it's part of a new series that I call Panorama, a sorry, panoramic. It's an optical device, I like to call it. It's an optical device or a sculpture that we invented in the studio, where there's these LED screens that are embedded in the sculpture, semi-hidden. If you look at certain angles, you will discover them. Now, the work looks like this kind of abstraction. It's actually very much influenced by the California light and space artists from the 1970s, like artists like James Turrell or Robert Irwin, that whole generation. I live between LA and Madrid. I have studios in both cities, so the whole California influence is quite big in my work too. In any case, the work has a twist, and that even though it just looks like pretty lights on that kind of back surface of the sculpture, the artwork is actually via Wi-Fi. It is connected to the global alert system for climate change. The more alerts that are activated at any given time because of a hurricane or a volcanic eruption and the ash that's being produced, or droughts that are happening somewhere in the world, all those elements are tracked via this webpage that is really a webpage for scientific purposes. And the more alerts that happen, and every day there's many alerts, the more active the abstraction becomes. The work is actually very much about landscape, but it's this new landscape created with the backbone, or should we show you the back side of climate change? You know, the understory, I guess is what I'm trying to say, the understory of climate change. It's very hard for me to seriously think about landscape in 2025 without immediately connecting that to our current climate crisis. So that is one of the pieces. And like a lot of my work, it's kind of, I invite viewers to kind of ask questions, because it looks like one thing, but then when you discover the backstory, you discover that there's a lot more than just this kind of minimalist light experience. That light experience is actually responding via the internet to global activity that maybe we can't see directly, but through the help of the internet, we now have access to.
I see. And the piece, so just because we saw some videos and how it looks like, how big is the piece basically?
The piece is 2 meters. It's 2 meters long, and I really like to think of it as this horizon line, and it's part of a series that I'm doing that's referencing different art movements. This particular piece, Diorama 2, references minimalism from the 1970s. I'm doing a lot of art historical reviewing, kind of. I guess I could talk a little bit about this, at least briefly, because media art is so ostracized from art history in general. It is such a sideshow, and there's such little knowledge by the culture of museum world, and even in art fairs and in the art market. It's such a marginalized, and I'm kind of tired of trying to enter that space. It's like, enough. I've been trying now for 40 years. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of dealing with art history, because I love art history and I'm influenced by all kinds of contemporary art. That's my background. I'm kind of tweaking art history and bringing it to my media art language. And this feels very therapeutic. It's a little bit of a revenge. It is so interesting that Body Photo now has its digital sector, which is not just about digital photography. In fact, I was encouraged to present work that was more sculptural. So I'm really liking that the fair itself is claiming a space for media art beyond digital photography or even beyond NFT imagery. That everything is so layered and mixed, photography and media art and digital art and this and sculpture and installation art and all this.
But it's also kind of, actually, it's also kind of crossing your career, and the different, because you've been touching a lot of things in the same time. And I think also this work of of course, it will not. I will not use a summarizing or basically what you've been doing, but it's touching a lot of topic, that have been part of your topics, basically. Bringing physical peace. You playing with basically lights, to create something that is going beyond light. Plus, managing, working with data at the end of the day, and getting a message, I would say, that is asking questions about how technology is impacting us. I don't know if it's of course, most of your work, are connected with this topic, but it's like really kind of looks complete in terms of work. You have this feeling of completion sometimes.
Never. I wish I did. But it's an ongoing search, it's an ongoing evolution. But I can say that the actual practice of making art, the daily ritual of going to the studio, including today, here it is, it's Saturday, and I'm at the studio. I should probably be relaxing, but it's my passion, it's my love. The practice of making art gives me a sense of completion. Again, that ritual that I was describing at age 14 of being in the magic of a dark room, I carry that with me today, so many years later. The quote unquote, the magic that happens in my studio is something that gives me a lot of satisfaction, because it gives my life a lot of sense. And that in itself, that activity gives me a sense of completion.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, you were muted.
Yeah. I don't know. I was saying, maybe just to not to complete, but to give also, to complete the show in Paris. Maybe I will just show people, the second work that will be in Paris Photo. I think it's Orbital.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me show it to you, and so you can have a good.
Orbital is my newest data work, and it is tracking in real time the orbits of the over 45,000 satellites that are spinning around the planet right now. It is kind of shocking to discover the density of the orbits. It's a miracle they're not crashing with each other all the time, that this is all a very complex, synchronized system. Where there's low orbits, medium orbits, geosynchronous orbits that are the ones that are really far away. Those are the ones that allow you to see the Earth from far away. The work is really about painting, shall we say, with orbits, creating art with satellites. In the context of this kind of panoramic gaze that I'm thinking about, all these satellites are surveying the Earth for meteorological purposes, for astronomical or geographic purposes, military purposes, and also communication purposes when we think of Starlink. So the work, again, is generative, algorithmic. It gets updated constantly as satellites enter orbital decay and become space junk. They're eliminated from the work, but new satellites are added all the time. There'll be up to 100,000 satellites, I think, by the year 2030. So this is just increasing. The work is kind of looks like almost like an engraving or a lithograph or a silkscreen. It has all these textures that are very kind of very beautiful. But there is a kind of fascination and at the same time a horror over this massive network that is kind of trapping the Earth, that astronomers now are beginning to complain that all these satellites are beginning to block their view of deep space cosmologies and galaxies. So there is a sort of beauty, I think, to the work, but there's also maybe a little bit of a question mark over what are we doing? We're trapping our view by kind of this inward-looking panoramic gaze towards the Earth. We're also obstructing our view of the deep deep universe.
Wow. It's, yeah, I will continue with this video, but it's okay. For people who are not seeing it, you need to watch this work. It's really impressive. And the effect that it's generating is very strong because, you can really feel this net. You have this feeling it's kind of a new atmosphere on top of the atmosphere that has been created by humans. And you really feel the density. You really feel, that, yeah, basically we recreated something that is that could stay for, I would say forever, but whatever. And that is, you mentioned this saturation and the fact that it's miraculous that, they are not shocking each other because, yeah, it's extremely dense. It's really like this, really like a big spider net that is flying over our heads. And, you mentioned 40, actually, I didn't realize that before. Now that's 45,000 already, potentially soon 100,000. It's sick. It's wow. We don't. I think it's even like, because I think all of us also have this image of the space, that is pretty empty, but actually it's crazily saturated.
And then we're not even counting the space junk. And a lot of the space junk are satellites that enter orbital decay, that become obsolete basically, and they take them out of circulation. But the space junk itself is also itemized. Each space element has its own code, because that also, they need to be careful that the space junk doesn't interfere with the satellites don't crash into the space junk. So this is all a very complex system, maybe not so different to the system that controls flights around the globe. That's another kind of IATA kind of system that it's not so different, but it is kind of fascinating and kind of terrifying also, particularly if we think of it as most of these orbits now are in the hands of this one guy called Elon Musk that seems to be taking over the planet.
I see. No, it's yeah, it works pretty well actually. If you want to generate some questions, actually, yeah, it's happening. And again, I think it's really interesting because visually, it's really like you see the piece. It's a pure digital piece, so you can leave it and experience it on the screen. But it's also technically, you have the image of the projection, and I think on top of it, you have something that is connected with where the piece is located or something like this, right?
Not exactly. The perspectives that are recreated on the screen are from the point of view of a specific satellite. So every few minutes, the perspective changes from one satellite to another, and then the composition completely changes. So you are able to see, if you want, with a keyboard, you can see the name of the satellite. And so I think that's interesting also. That's really a POV vision or artwork made from the perspective of the satellite. It's not like this imaginary composition. It's literally using the position of any of the 45,000 satellites to create this kind of perspective.
I see. That's so yeah. I think that's what is interesting, because you mentioned the painting effect, that you have. It's really like a digital paint, animated, but also yeah, data, and data is a big part of what you're building basically. So you're really using playing with the material and the immaterial in this piece.
Yes, and of course, one of the interesting challenges of our times is the immense amount of data that is available to us, more than we could ever parse and process and kind of make useful. And I think this is one of the challenges for us as individuals or as artists to try to, in my case, try to make sense of the data for artistic purposes. I always like to say that I'm not doing data visualization, which is not really my field. Data visualization usually has a more kind of didactic approach. It's trying to, graphically show complex phenomena via data. I'm I'm really positioning myself fully as an artist and using data the way a painter would use paint. And this, I'm hoping, will give you other experiences of data that is not about, doesn't have any didactic purposes or doesn't have any, it's not trying to educate you on anything. It's trying to give you an experience, like almost like an emotional, physical
No, yeah,
experience of the
we
data.
have this feeling, and I agree. Yeah, maybe okay. It's not data technically. It's not this. Maybe data visualization if you follow one definition of it, but you're still playing with this materializing, phenomenon that exists in the world. And we saw that even in the previous work. That you have this kind of idea of taking data from the real and generating something from that, and for me, it's even more interesting that you know I don't know, it's different, but it's not just about random circle going bigger and smaller. It's really talking to you in a way, and this is what I think is interesting.
It is so important for me, just in a very kind of selfish way. It is so important for me to use this data, to use this phenomena, and to make art with it as a way of digesting and processing this crazy world that we live in. So that is one of the amazing aspects of being an artist for me, is that it helps me understand the world we live in, experience the times that we are experiencing via art. Like art is a way, is a filter in a way, but it's also a medium that allows me to have this dialogue, this conversation, this connection with this world, rather than just, saying, oh, this is too much for me, this is a bubble, I can't deal with this shit. No, it's like, let's deal with it, but let's deal with it with tools that allow me to have a conversation with this very fast changing world that we're living in, fast changing in many measures because of technology.
I see. And actually, I have a special guest also for us right now. I wanted to introduce with you because I think, for people who are following, we're recording in kind of a live conditions. And so we have also live from Cologne, Köln, basically, Nina Moersel. Hi, Nina. How are you? You're on mute, Nina.
Hi, John and Daniel. Good to see you. Greetings from Cologne. I just stepped into the conversation a couple of minutes ago, and I'm already fascinated, actually, to see Daniel's work at Paris Photo in the digital sector. Can't wait.
No, can't wait to have you also. And we know you are busy, and I just wanted to have a small, just few words from you also, because you met already. You met already, if I'm not wrong, Nina and Daniel.
Yes, sure, absolutely. We met actually last year. We had lunch here at Art Cologne together, and Daniel and I had a very intense year already, and we had a solo exhibition with Daniel. Daniel helped me out here 2 years ago in the gallery, and are regularly showing Daniel's works at several fairs, and very exciting, of course, to show him now in Paris Photo in the digital sector. We're glad to have this opportunity to also show works that deal with data and that are time-based media, which the gallery is very fond of and has a great experience over 30 years. And looking forward to have Daniel's work in Paris Photo.
It's exciting, and maybe we haven't properly introduced you, but you are the the main curator, art director of Anita Baker's gallery, right?
Yes, I am the gallery director of
Gallery
Anita
director.
Becker's gallery in Frankfurt, Germany, and we've been working quite a while with Daniel Canogar. I'm sorry, I probably didn't hear your question right because it's really busy here in the background.
No, it's okay. No, I'm sorry. No, but I think it's interesting because as a gallery, when you're going to a fair, we can see you basically flying from one fair to the other one. So from Cologne this week to Paris next week. You say that you already did a solo show with Daniel. I just wanted to have your views, on, because you will have a booth there in Paris Photo, and basically what is the point of the curation that you will do in Paris?
Well, we are showing next to Daniel Canogar and another artist, Johanna Reich, who is actually from Cologne, which is funny. And both of them work with very different, but are very aware, as Daniel just said, of the times that we are living in and reflect that in their works. And I am excited to have the dialogue of both of them in the digital sector. And yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, it's a kind of two artists that will be there, that will be on your booth basically, and
it's a mixture. I mean, Nina Röhrs, the curator of the digital sector, she invited us, and also stating that it's. I mean, Daniel stems from photography. Johanna, on the other hand, stems from painting, and both of them develop their artistic career into this media art, time-based art, and have important questions to ask. And I am excited to see several media actually within our small booth. One sculpture that Daniel just described, diorama, and of course the screen piece, Orbital. And on the other hand, Johanna will actually show photography that is not photography, but stems also from basically our archive of data from sources of the internet. And this is an interesting interplay between several media, exploring the boundaries and pushing the boundaries of photography, which of course Paris Photo is very well known.
Of course. No, it's amazing. And Nina, just, of course, I wanted to know, just in terms of business, all the pieces on the booth, they're available potentially for collectors?
They are all available for collectors, and they range in price between 10,000 and 45,000 euros.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to the collectors who are interested in digital art at Paris Photo.
Okay, super nice. Now, Nina, I just wanted to thank you for being with us, for these few minutes. And Daniel wanted to say something also.
Before Nina returns to the craziness, the exciting craziness of the art fair, for me, it has been a really special opportunity to collaborate with Nina and as director of the Anita Becker's Gallery, which is a gallery that has pioneered for so many years photography, media art, performance art, conceptual and feminist art. I feel so comfortable within that kind of a program. And I just really wanted to underline how important it is for artists to have had this kind of support through the years, this kind of continued support through the years. And I would really encourage people not to miss out the Anita Becker's Gallery in Paris Photo, because it is a unique gallery. And I work with a few galleries, but the Anita Becker's Gallery is very close to my heart, and it's such a privilege to work with this level of professionality and understanding of the medium when working with Nina. So everybody, please check it out. I just wanted to pitch that before Nina leaves.
Wow, thank you, Daniel. Right back at you. Thank you so much for having me in this conversation. Thanks, John, for featuring this. And I'm looking forward to see you in Paris Photo.
Yeah, enjoy, and thank you, Nina, and see you in Paris next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And thank you for your nice words, actually, Daniel. It's really interesting because, yeah, it's at the digital age, a lot of people are questioning the role of galleries, basically, and I think it's yeah, I can see, from what you mentioned that, yeah, you don't have, just to understand well, exclusive relation with one gallery. You're working with several people. You are free, I would say, but based on project, you will join interesting opportunities, right?
Yes, I mean, I think in my case, the collaboration I've done with galleries has been very important. In a way, in the context of this conversation, NFT morning, I know that the NFT movement, in many ways, has tried to have that kind of direct contact with collectors without the intermediaries of the art gallery. In my case, I have collaborated enormously with galleries because perhaps I obviously started much earlier than the whole NFT phenomena, and they have access to collectors, some of which are specialized in media art, and many of them, most of them, are not. And so this has allowed me to take my work to a broader audience. And this has become very important. I mean, I thankfully have been able to make a living as an artist now for quite a few years. And in great measure, it is because of my collaboration with galleries. It's one of the things that I think is not spoken about enough in the art world is the economy of the artist, of the art profession. How do you survive? How do you frickin' survive as an artist is kind of a taboo subject. And this has led to, I think, many instances in which a lot of great talents, because they didn't have particularly good support or skills, about selling their work, have given up. And this is for me the tragedy. Who knows if these artists had had more support, what kind of work they could have contributed to our world. So I am very interested in trying to bring up and be very transparent about the economy of the artists and of arts professions in general, not just the artists, not just the digital artists. It could also be for curators and galleries. It's all an ecosystem that, to be honest, is running on a very old-fashioned economic model that I think needs to change, needs to get modernized, and as so many other cultural industries, it needs to be developed much, much more fully.
Of course, but on the other hand, because also from the NFT people point of view, it's kind of the same, this dream of being self-sufficient as an artist without any gallery and without any with cutting all the middlemen, has been, yeah, this dream has passed basically, because now we have, like in many other digital art world, 99.9% of artists who cannot live from that, and very few who can make money. And these very few artists, at the end of the day, are the ones also who will collaborate with some key galleries, and that will, yeah, basically, be, basically be doing like doing show with, yeah, with like some other stakeholders in the ecosystem. So I don't believe so far, that we found this new model. And actually, that's a question that still, we'll still, I believe, play with, experiment with. Of course, I think it's digital is changing the game. People maybe have more access to more information. Maybe you have potentially less this kind of doorkeeper feeling, but it's still pretty slow, I believe. So no, that's very interesting perspective and point, and thank Daniel for sharing that. Um, you know, basically, just time is flying. And before we leave, I just wanted to show a last work, that you've been working on. It's not exhibited in Paris, but it's part of the same series, basically, of sculptures. I would say physical slash light and data work. I don't know how to describe it with all of this, but yeah, this work is called. This work is called
Margins.
margins. Exactly, margins.
Margins.
Yes, and also for people who can watch, I will display that, and actually the way you talk about your work is really interesting. So yeah, we'll be happy to get you talking about it also a bit more if you can.
Well, margins is also a conversation with art history, as I was explaining before. It's a conversation in specifically with minimalism and with Donald Judd as perhaps the kind of more significant member of that movement. So it's a tweaked Donald Judd-like sculpture, but instead of the typical shells of Donald Judd's sculpture, this American New York artist from the 70s, I've inserted LED screens. And the work is actually, again, connected to the internet. And what it is showing is pornography. It's connected to streaming pornography. And you can't really see it directly, the pornography, the screen from the streaming pornography.
Yeah, before you mentioned pornography, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't realize it was pornography. But now that you're mentioning it, yeah, I can imagine it.
Yes, you can see the color tones, skin tones, and the movements that you can imagine. I really wanted to create a clash between this kind of very refined minimalist reference, art historical reference, clashing with this kind of phenomena of online streaming pornography, which, by the way, takes up a huge percentage of the activity on the internet. Together with video games, it's 30% of the activity of the internet is pornography and video games. So it's just trying to kind of bring together these two phenomena, bring together high art and maybe low art, and create this very beautiful kind of experience that maybe when you discover what is really going on, you kind of see it as a very different phenomena. But it's really about thinking about the visual culture of the 21st century, which sometimes I think the art world is kind of not looking at, kind of almost avoiding it and thinking of it as trash or garbage. I'm interested in kind of bringing these two worlds together in a way that is kind of surprising and why not even a little beautiful.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's really impressive. The work is also, the design, the minimalist design is, of course, is amazing. But the way it's planning, yeah, this is again something that is really interesting because you have different layers of lecture that are very clear, also in a way, and very. And each of them is pretty strong. On one hand, the minimalism, the play with the LED screen, and turning this to a light show, and then on top of it, the connection with some key symbol of the current world. It's yeah, wow. No, thank you for that. And again, Daniel, I think it's the way you describe it also is really amazing.
Thank you. I try.
No, it's not. Some artists, of course, some of the time explaining that, yeah, their work is talking for themselves, and of course, the work is in a way self talking by itself. But yeah, it's really interesting the way you talk about it also, and I wanted to thank you for that.
For me, it's important to be able to talk a little bit about it because a lot of these works have a surprise element. Like you see, it just looks like pretty lights on this sculpture. And then when you discover it as pornography, obviously you have a different take. And this, by the way, is one of the pieces I'm going to be showing, opening next week in Wild Gallery in Geneva. The show opens on Thursday. I believe that's November. I forget the date exactly.
November 13th, maybe.
November 13th, correct. And it will be up for until early January in Geneva. So if you're in that neck of the woods, I would love you to come by and check it out.
Amazing. So yeah, that's yeah. I would recommend. I will go. I will go to Geneva and visit it. And so we
Fabulous.
have more occasions. So one in Paris next week, and in Geneva in the same time, or maybe after if you want.
Exactly.
So that's no. I just wanted to thank you, Daniel. For being with us this morning.
My
And
pleasure.
actually, for people following this, we will have also some other shows coming. One with actually one with let me tell you the next one actually that we will record that should happen very soon also. Actually, it's gonna be with Nina Roers also, that we just do a summary of all the work, and the curation she did for Paris Photo. That will happen Tuesday next week. So I recommend you to follow also this episode. And for everybody, also see you in Paris. So it's actually starting the VIP on Wednesday, if I'm not wrong. So the 12th. And then 13 until 16, you need to visit if you never did it, of course, visit the Grand Palais, because the exhibition is back to the Grand Palais in Paris, and it's amazing. And visit Anita Baker's booth and Daniel Canogar exhibition. Thank you, Daniel. Have a great shows actually, and good morning.
Good morning to you, John. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Enjoy Paris Photo, and I hope our paths cross very soon. Take much care. Thank
Definitely.
you for this great program.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Happy. Good morning. Really happy. Good morning.